President Biden is condemning Sunday's violent street protests between Los Angeles pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel counter-demonstrators. Protest organizers say they were targeting a synagogue where an Israel real estate event was taking place. Biden said he's appalled by what he saw. He said, quote, intimidating Jewish congregants is unconscionable, anti-Semitic, and un-American.
CNN obtained this video appearing to show two men wrestling on the ground as others kick them. The violence prompted LA's mayor to beef up security at houses of worship around the city. Let's discuss with CNN senior political commentator and former Obama administration official Van Jones. Van, great to see you. I'm curious to get your reaction to these scenes playing out, not just in Los Angeles, but we've seen similar ones across the country.
Well, look, this is unacceptable. As a father who's actually trying to raise my children in Los Angeles, I want to just applaud Mayor Bass, Governor Newsom, and President Biden for speaking up about this. Listen, if you don't like what's happening in Gaza, it's your right to protest. That's not a problem. But you protest a policy. You don't protest a people. When you protest a policy, you go to City Hall and you protest. You go to the Israeli consulate peacefully, you protest. Maybe you go to your elected representative, you protest. You don't bum rush a Jewish neighborhood and run up on a synagogue. That's not protesting a policy, that's protesting a people. And that is across any line in America, and it has to be called out. And you have to also understand the context here. This is a neighborhood that's already been traumatized. Not just October 7th, which traumatized all Jewish communities, but that neighborhood in particular. Last year, in February, not one, but two Jewish men, Orthodox Jewish men, were gunned down, were shot in two back-to-back hate crimes. So you're dealing with a community that's already traumatized, they're already fearful, and then you go and you do something like this. I have no problem with people protesting policy. You cannot protest a people. That is not a protest, that's a pogrom, and that has to stop.
Let's talk about the policy. Let's talk about how the Biden administration, how the president's handling the policy, Van. How do you see it? Where does he need to improve on this?
Well, listen, I think that the president is in a tough position because the base of the party is very concerned about these images that we keep seeing from Gaza, and he wants to take a strong stand on behalf of human rights for everybody. That's Joe Biden. At the same time, I think it's a little bit naive for some people to think that if Israel would suddenly just stop doing what it's doing, that rainbows and bunnies and sunshine would break out over the Middle East and it would all be fine. The hostages have to be returned. If you can call for a ceasefire on both sides. Hamas is still firing its rockets. They still have hostages kidnapped. So this is a complex issue, but here's what's not complicated. Politics can be complicated. Geopolitics can be really complicated. How you treat your neighbors, how you treat people in your community is not complicated. You don't run up, I haven't seen any Jewish people running up on mosques with Israeli flags. If they did that, I'd be denouncing that too. There are certain things you don't do. It is a red line. If you want to be a part of a protest and they say, we're going to go to a Jewish community center, we're going to go to a mosque, we're going to go to a Jewish restaurant, that's not a protest. That's a pogrom. That's an anti-Jewish bigoted act. If you want to be a part of a protest, let's go to a mosque. Let's go and harass the Muslims. That's not a protest. So we've got to get clear in our country what is a fair protest about policy, you can agree or disagree, and what's going after people, human beings, terrifying moms, grandmas, children who are trying to be a part of a neighborhood. The Jewish neighborhoods in LA are well known. Nobody is confused where they are. So if you show up there wearing a keffiyeh, you show up there with your face covered, you show up there chanting river to the sea, that would be just like a white person running up with a Confederate flag in Harlem. You're not trying to start a conversation, you're trying to start a fight. Stop doing that. Don't do that. We don't want more violence. We don't want more fear. We don't want more terrified people. We've got to be able to come together as a country. If either side had an easy answer, it would have been solved. I'm less concerned about the politicians now. I'm concerned about the people in my community in Los Angeles moving in a direction that is more and more dangerous, more and more scary, more and more destructive. The Jewish community does not need to have people doing those types of things. It's not helping anybody in Palestine, but it's making America a much less safe place for everybody.
It's tough to watch the discourse and the dialogue devolve into what we witnessed in LA and other places. Van Jones, great to get your perspective. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you.